Hello and welcome to Pima Community College's Art 105. I'm your instructor, Raven Moffett. I'm recording this from Scappoose, Oregon, and I split my time between Tucson and Scappoose. So you can see behind me my little pottery shed in the woods here. Just a little bit about me before we jump into the class. I got my MFA at University of Arizona, and my background was in photo and video imaging. But while I was there, I kind of expanded more into installation and performance as well. I'm also a potter, and I work with natural dyes. So those are my main mediums, but I have a broad base. I like to work interdisciplinarily. Um, and I am also a pretty diverse scholar. So I will be defending my PhD thesis in the spring. So there will be 1 week during this class where I will kind of be in the thick of doing my own work. I don't have that date yet, but I will keep you updated on D2L. It won't mean a lapse in grading, but it might mean my ability to respond in depth might dip for that week. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up. Should be sometime between late March and early April. In an ideal world, it would coincide with one of our breaks this semester because we have two. We have the rodeo break and the spring break, but it's kind of up to my advisors. So my PhD is in American Indian Studies. I have a background as a curator and I've worked in several museums, particularly in collections of Indigenous art. But I also have a background as an animal behaviorist and I work with my dogs. Um, so I'm hanging out with one of my pups who's very tired after a big day doing some agility work. So I have two dogs, and they'll probably become a part of the class at some point. I love working with animals. I do some work in behavior and also in vet care. Um, and what else? I have several chickens. I can't even count them because we just hatched some this year, so that number has changed. They all have names. I know them. I just don't have a running count. I have quail. We used to have only male quail, and actually, literally yesterday, we picked up some female quail. So now we have quail eggs. So we have eight female and male quail, eight in total, and several chickens, and also some death feigning beetles and a pink-toed tarantula. So we got a full house. Yeah, those are some things about me. Let's hop into the class. I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna give you a tour of our D2L page. All right. So this is our landing page. If you're new to working with D2L, I'll back out for just a second. Um, when you get to D2L, which you can do by just typing in d2l.pima, or by going to my Pima, and then there's a quick link to D2L. It should populate your landing page with all the courses you're taking this semester, and then you're going to click on ours, which is course number 21266. And here is the landing page for our course shell. I'll be posting announcements at least twice a week. The contents of those are first and foremost reminders about what you have coming up, because I know that's really helpful. But also, I like to put in, updates in the art world, links to, um, if there's a show, an exhibition that's getting a lot of accolades. It might not be in the Tucson area, but I never know. People could be traveling during this course, or you all could be accessing this from a different place. So I like to keep people updated on things going on in the art world. Um, and then also, just give pointers and examples for assignments. I've taught this class for um, 4 years, um, in lots of different modalities. I started in person. Now I mostly do this online asynchronous modality. And so I like to give resources for things and also give advice where, I see students throughout the years have maybe had confusion on assignments or trouble. So be checking that daily, be checking D2L daily, really. If you have an extra busy day and it goes 2 days, that's fine. But really, if you're doing more than 2 days of absence on the class, it's very easy to fall behind. On the side, you also have my instructor widget, which talks about me. And the most important thing here is it has my PIMA email. So that is the way to contact me. Please, please, please put the CRN of our course. So put Art 105 21266 in the email. Ideally, it would be in the subject of the email, but if you put it in the body, that's fine. A lot of times, and this is not just for me, but this is for any of your instructors at PIMA, many of us teach multiple iterations of the same class in the same semester. And while we likely know you and know your work, which class you're in is maybe not something we're gonna be able to draw off the top of our head. So it just saves us a little bit of time and allows us to give you the best response. Because, for example, a lot of the times I will teach two offerings of Art 105, one that might be a 14-week class like this, and then one that might be an 8-week class. So if you have questions about deadlines or things, those are going to look very different class to class. So be sure to add that information in your email. I also have these two links to a Pima Community College librarian, specifically Sandra Lay is our course liaison, and that'll be really helpful because there are some research aspects to this class. Lastly, we have some quick links down here. So if you are struggling with D2L and want some D2L support, need some advising, some tutoring, these are all things that tech support, these are all things that can connect you. And so that's it for the landing page. Where you are going to go next for this class is the syllabus. And we just recently switched to this great new program called Simple Syllabus. And so it's embedded. Um, so this is what it's going to look like. This is my syllabus has not been published yet because I'm recording this a little bit advance of the start of our class. Usually about the week before class starts, it gets published. Every once in a while, there's a little bit of a delay. So, this should all be correct information. You should be able to access this, but I am going to go kind of slow in case there are any hiccups, because it's like this thing that's embedded into D2L as an external thing. Every once in a while, if you have spotty connectivity or there's a glitch or a hiccup, it might not load. So just be aware, be patient with that. This course is going to start on the 30th of January, and then our last day is going to be the 17th of May. I almost said March. You will have things due up until the very end of class, so you need to be planning accordingly. Some key dates here are the drop refund audit date is February 11th. If you're, at, let's say February 9th, because we don't want to go up until right until the end, you're feeling pretty uneasy about where you're at in this class, I highly recommend kind of reconfiguring what you're doing. Maybe you've taken too many classes and this is the one you want to cut, or, maybe you're interested in the content, but you're just not able to keep up with the assignments. Maybe you want to switch to auditing this class so you can get a feel of it and retry for a grade later. So keep that in mind. If you kind of miss that window, the second ability to withdraw from the class, and I do recommend doing that if you are not getting the grade that you want, right? It's better to try again than to have that, F on your record. That second deadline is the 14th of April. And so you will have still paid for this class, but you will be able to withdraw rather than having a failing end grade. This is a completely online asynchronous class. Just because it's online asynchronous does not mean that there are no due dates. There are weekly due dates. You're welcome to work ahead, but you do need to stay up to date. And I'll show you where everything is posted about that. Again, more information about me. Because I split my time between Tucson and Scappoose, and also because this is a completely online asynchronous class, and many of you may be coming from areas outside of Arizona, I just do meetings via Zoom. I don't have a physical office on a PCC campus because of my unique situation. So Zoom is really the only way to meet. I, of course, will respond to emails if you have questions that are quick and easy. But if you think you maybe want to have more of a dialogue or have a more complex question, I really encourage you to email me to set up a Zoom. This will be the link. It's just my open meeting link. But it does mean that there's like a waiting room for privacy, just so I don't have, someone walk in while I'm walk in, log in while I'm talking with another student. Um, I'm not on that at all times. My schedule is extremely flexible because I have this PhD work and do work online. Uh, so, um, I'm also a caretaker for elders here, which is why I'm here. And it just means that I have a really kind of flexible and bizarre schedule, and all of you probably have really individualized schedules. I recognize that many of you are probably working at least part-time, if not full-time. You might have family duties, so all of our schedules are going to look different. So it just seems to be the best that if you want to meet with me over Zoom, email me at least a couple of days in advance, so that we can get our schedules together. And then in the emails, tell me you want to Zoom and give me a couple of times. So, for example, let's say I wanted to meet with an instructor. I have generally very flexible days on Friday, but I also know Wednesday afternoon, after 12 p.m., I could fit in anytime. So I would email my instructor on Monday saying, "Can I meet with you this week? I have open availability Wednesday after um, noon and then Friday all day." And that will give me two great chunks of time to try to slot in. Um, Generally, if you give me two options, we can make them work. Um, there are circumstances where it doesn't, and I might email back and ask about other availability, but we'll make it happen. Yeah, so Zoom, this is a course description. I'm going to kind of go a little bit faster through this. You are expected to completely read the syllabus, um, and complete a syllabus quiz. It's not an in-depth one. It's not a hunt and find. It's just, do you agree to what's in the syllabus? That's your first graded assignment, and it is due February 1st. So pretty quick turnaround for that. And that's just to hit the ground rolling. If you don't finish that quiz and consent to what's in the syllabus, you are eligible to be dropped from the class because it's your duty as a student to agree to that syllabus, and that way I know that you know what's going on and can proceed. If you haven't agreed to that, it's within my rights to drop you. And I will, because it's just not fair to your other students, if you are not getting all the information provided to you. I have a really hard time answering emails about questions that are clearly articulated in this video, in other course communication, in the syllabus. So if you have a question about the class, I would love to answer it, but it is your job as a student to first review the syllabus and review all other aspects of D2L to try to find the answer. If you've done that and still haven't found it, absolutely email me. Or if you're seeing something on our class and it doesn't make sense, you need more explanation, you want an example, then email me. But I'm going to have a harder time, and I might not answer your question if you email me a question that is answered in the syllabus. I will simply say that's answered in the syllabus. And that indicates to me that you didn't actually read it, and that's subject for me to exit you from the class. So, not saying that to scare you, just saying that's what is expected of you as a student. That's what's expected of you as a student for every class. So this should not be, this might be your first college class. This is your heads up. And all of your professors will be asking the same. What you need to be successful in this class is some physical materials for art making. This is mostly an art historical survey, but there is an opportunity to make art, which is very exciting. And so it will be helpful to have some art supplies. Um, you also, of course, need access to D2L and consistent internet access because everything is through D2L. Um, and then the thing that I always have students struggling, not all students, but I inevitably at the end of every semester, I have one student who has not read the syllabus, um, and hasn't looked ahead, and they are upset with me that they need to get their own transportation to a museum or an art event. We have an assignment that requires you to go to your local, not my local, but your local museum. Um, and you need to be able to do that. Of course, if you have for like a disability reason or an access reason, or you planned on going and became extremely ill and you had family emergency or were very sick, then email me and we can come up with some alternatives. But I am telling you this now, and you have this information. You have information for all the things we're going to do in this class right now. It is your job as a student to look over those things and plan ahead. Um, so I've highlighted that. In terms of the art piece that you're going to make, you have some flexibility of what assignment, I mean, what materials you could use. So here are a list of potential things. Definitely you're going to want a camera or a scanner to be able to digitize your art piece so that you can turn it in. Um, but there are a couple of different options of what that could look like, and go to that assignment to get all the options. I'll briefly go over it here, but mostly I just want to cover the lay of the land. Um, I only have so many things I can do to help you on D2L. That said, if you again are working with Office of Disabilities, or have an emergency and need an extension or need certain circumstances, those are things I can do as an instructor. Um, but there are limitations to how I can help with D2L. So if you are having D2L specific problems, like things are not loading, you're not seeing things, and it seems to be, you can email me and be like, I'm not finding this. And then if I say it is available on D2L, all of your other students can find it, that is a clue that you need to seek D2L Brightspace help because that seems to be an issue between your connectivity and D2L. And I cannot resolve that for you. So here are resources in order to do that. There is no required textbook for this course. It's all in this D2L page, which is why having consistent access and seeing everything you need to see is critical. Um, Here are our student learning outcomes. Each of those will be reiterated in the assignments that we have. And here's a breakdown of grades for this class. So overall, you're going to work towards 760 points. That seems like a lot, and it seems like you have a lot of latitude. But I have had many students, unfortunately, fail this class because they decided that, oh, let's see here, quizzes are only 20 points each. So if I miss a bunch of them, it's not that much. It really does add up. It really does. And you'll have the availability to look at your overall grade in D2L. I turn grades around as quickly as possible. Um, you'll be submitting work on Sundays. I usually grade on Mondays. So by Monday evening, you should know what you got and you should be able to keep track of your progress. And you can do some simple maths to see how you're doing and project, what kind of points you need to get the grade you want. Because that's all here. If you find yourself, not where you want to be, feel free to email me and ask, but you already know, because it's right here, that we have a extra credit assignment to visit an art event or performance. That's an extra 20 points. That is already offered to you. So beyond that, there's not extra credit. It's already there. I'm not going to do anything in addition to that. So you have the ability to know where you're going and make changes. This is a 14-week session. So that means that we're just slightly compressed from the traditional 16 weeks. And I'll show you what that looks like in our course content here in a second. Yeah, I respond quickly to emails most of the time. I'll say on weekends, and this is a push-pull, right? Because I make your due dates on Sunday so that people who work traditional jobs, and I myself have worked all through my education. I've been a server, a barista, a bartender. I've worked at an independent pet store for a long time. I've done retail. I am almost always pulling a side gig in the service industry, so I totally understand. And I just want to make sure that people have the full Monday through Sunday to figure out what their work schedule is or what their other classes are, and they have that whole week to submit. So, if you have Monday and Tuesday off, don't wait until Sunday to submit your work. Take Monday and Tuesday and get the work done, and then great. You might even get your grade early because you've already submitted. Um, so that said, uh, be looking ahead, be making progress ahead of time. Don't wait until Sunday evening to realize that you have a critical question for me and email me. I answer emails as quickly as possible, but right now I'm on a much more traditional kind of schedule where Monday through Friday are my work days and the weekend is my weekend. Um, I will be checking email because it's important for you all, but I'm not going to be checking it as rigidly, not hour by hour. And certainly after like 5 p.m. on Sunday, I'm not really going to be on my email very much. Um, so if you have a last minute kind of huge question, you're likely going to miss that assignment because you waited until, 5 hours before the due date to ask that. So, that said, if you have done your job and you are submitting, close to the due date, and you're just having technological malfunctions, like you're not able to submit on D2L or whatever, then email me your submissions. So, for example, we were just talking about your self-portrait, the art piece that you're going to do. You've been working on that all semester. You're really proud. And, you just had a couple of finishing touches that you wanted to do. So you kind of pushed it until Sunday evening. It's Sunday, 9 p.m. And boy, D2L is just not working for you. In that event, just send me the image of your art piece, and you also have a written component for that. Send me everything for your assignment to my email. And that way I know you did the work on time. And so even though the submission for D2L might be empty or delayed or whatever, I'll know you got it done. And I'm not going to penalize you for a late submission if it got to my email before the due date. Um, Things happen in life. If you're struggling, please email me. If you have something come up, if you get sick, email me and do so, if possible, before the due date. Because in D2L, I can't give you an extension on the assignment if the due date has passed. That kind of locks that ability for me. But if you give me a heads up, a couple days, like yeah, I was working on my assignments and now I'm really sick and don't think I'm going to be able to make it. Let me know and we can work something out ahead of time. The one exception to that is quizzes. Quizzes are due every week on Sunday. They're a review of course content, and that is how I'm able to measure attendance. So I will not be able to give extensions on quizzes unless you have a technological malfunction, meaning D2L has shut down for you. Um, so I'm once again going to say that you will need to go to a local art museum or gallery. As I've mentioned several times throughout this recording, I know that many of you are accessing this uh, course through places across the globe. I've had students in Korea, I've had students in France, all across the US. That's great. I'm really excited about that. That brings diversity to our assignments, especially our ability to talk to one another in our discussion posts, means we have more exposure to art globally. That's amazing. You have assignments to go to museums and galleries. And because Pima Community College is based in Pima County, um, I have compiled a list of eligible museums and galleries that are based in Pima County. But if you are not able to go to Pima County to complete those, that is fine. That's clearly indicated at every level of this course. Please don't email me saying, I didn't know because you did. Um, what you need to do is find a local museum or gallery that's going to work for you. And just email me and say, does this seem acceptable? And 80% of the time, I'm like, oh, yeah, that looks great. Very excited. Maybe I've been there, maybe I haven't. Um, I would say the other 20% of the time would be if you email me and instead of looking at a museum that focuses on visual art, you maybe emailed me and wanted to go to a science museum or a children's museum, which are great places and often have visual art in them, but it's not the focus. I'm going to respond and say, let's see if we can find you a more visual art specific resource so you can be sure to have success in your assignment. Um, that said, I also have students who might be based in Pima County, but their family or their school, they're going on a trip, let's say to New York. Amazing galleries and museums in New York. Absolutely feel free to use that opportunity of travel to work on this assignment. I encourage it. Okay. Um, I don't allow use of AI in this class. I used to help with editing and drafting, and so many students misused it that I can no longer allow that. I mean, things like Grammarly that's just helping you edit your grammar, ab absolutely use that. Please spell things correctly and use the tools available to you to do that. But no generative text from ChatGPT. I know Grammarly has an option to generate text. We're not going to do that. Gemini, Chegg, any and all of the above. Yeah. Okay. I'm just making sure I have both of those. Great. Um, already gave you a little bit of information about withdrawal. Uh, you'll only be eligible for an incomplete if you request to do that and have completed 70% of the coursework. Um, generally, incompletes are not approved for these kind of courses because they're so accessible. There are so many offerings of this that we just kind of say, maybe do a withdrawal and try again. But if that's something you're thinking about, email me and we'll talk through it. You need to be logging in and completing work in order to be marked as present. As I said, the quizzes are kind of how I navigate that. If you are not actively participating, then you will be dropped. Um, you get automatic notifications if you go really, I think more than 2 weeks without participating, without being marked present. So you'll be aware. And those emails are not something I'm sending individually. Those are automated. You will know if I am sending it will come from my email if I'm sending you an email. And I do. If students drop off, if I see a de decrease in participation or in quality of work, I check in. And if I don't hear back from you, that's a good indicator that maybe uh, it would be best to withdraw or for me to drop you from the class. Because obviously something has come up. Here are several student resources. Um, here is the contact for our department head, Mariana Carreras, amazing woman running a lot of things. So while I am beholden to respond to your email quickly, do not be concerned if you send an email to Mariana and it takes maybe 2 weeks. She's got a lot going on. And ADR. Okay, so that's your syllabus. Just a couple more things throughout the class that I want to go over. So you're going to start with the syllabus, then you're going to go to content and the welcome module. And basically what you can do to ensure that you're getting all aspects of the course, you can click on the first page, read through that. There's a little video. gives you kind of a checklist of things to do, hits on a lot of the main points that I talked about, and then you can go to this next section and it's just going to walk you through all these aspects. This is more information about me. Again, my email is here, Zoom room is here. Um, Tells you how to address me if you're confused. And then this is incredibly critical, our schedule of work. Assignment due dates are not only set up here, but also within our course calendar. So, this is where I would go first because it's a comprehensive list. And if you're like me, sometimes it's helpful for me to have a physical printout of things. And this is something that you could physically print and kind of check off as you go. Excuse me. So the first assignments that you have due are your syllabus receipt and course contract quiz. That's due February 1st. I want to make sure everyone knows that also your first discussion post, and which is an icebreaker, is due February 1st as well. And that is, there's no content that you need to know for that. It's just you introducing yourself. So you write a discussion post about yourself, give a little background in the arts and what you want to do. And in order to get full points, you also need to respond to a fellow student. So please work ahead on that because if you leave it up until the very end deadline, you might miss that opportunity to respond. Then the following week, you're going to have two quizzes. Most of the time, you'll just have one quiz a week. But again, because we are slightly shortened from the traditional 16 week, we do have a couple of overlaps. Um, yeah, so you have your quizzes opening then, and then I see I should change this. This is a little confusing. Then your hands-on, your big assignments open. And this is when they are due, but I will clarify that they are opening in this first module and they are due at the end of class. That said, you need to be looking at these ahead of time, and there's even a prompt here to, you know, take about an hour to go over what you're going to need for the self-portrait. Take about another hour to get a hang of what you're going to need for the field trip assignment. And then if you want to plan ahead for this performance extra credit assignment, about 30 minutes. And that's how long it's going to take for you just to digest the information of what I'm asking you. It could take anywhere from 4 to 8, 4 to 6 to 3 to 6 hours to complete. So, and you can just scroll down and this is going to walk you through all the aspects of class. All right. I'm gonna jump back to the welcome module so we can kind of zoom out and see the larger scope. So this is what we were walking through, schedule of work. Then I have a couple of resources here and your syllabus receipt and course contact quiz is right there. Also, very important, my grading rubrics, how I determine your grade are linked right here, some information about visual arts at Pima, and then a whole overview of all the assignments, discussions, assessments that you have for the whole class, all laid out right in this welcome module. Then, when you actually are ready to get into the content of the course, you're going to go to Module 1. It has this lovely checklist built in of all the things that you need to read and then complete in order to be successful. It's got lots of links. That said, I do check these before each class starts, but things change throughout the duration of the class. If you ever click on a link and it is broken, it's not working. So this is a TED Talk and it's asking about creativity in schools. And that is what it actually is supposed to be. And you can check that by right here. If ever you click on a link and it doesn't go to the right thing or the link is broken, please email me right away. I would love to fix that for you. I had a student last class who waited until the very end of the semester to let me know that they couldn't access something. I don't know why they waited until my final assessment to tell me that. That's unfortunate. They lost points because they didn't get that content, and likely other students couldn't access it as well. So please, as soon as you encounter anything that is not quite working for you, let me know. If I can fix it, I will. If I can't fix it, I'll say, okay, this might be something you want to take up with D2L. All right. So, and you're just going to walk all down here, progress through the course. Um, One thing I want to highlight here is when you make your uh, portrait, the one hands-on assignment we have, you will submit some things through D2L to me, but also as a way to share all of our work, you're going to go to this link, and it's a link to a Google Drive that everyone should have access to if you are logged in on your Pima email. If you're on your personal email, you're not going to have access to it, and I'm not going to grant it to you. You need to use your Pima email. When you contact me and when you submit your beautiful uh, artwork to the student gallery. And so once you finish your self-portrait, you just pick a blank slide, put it in, put your name and the title. That's all you have to do. You don't have to add any written content beyond that. We just showing people visually what we're doing. Um, Another note on Pima email, if you send an email to me through your personal email, 99% of the time it will go to my spam. So I won't see it. So if I'm not responding to you in a timely fashion, before you email me again, double check, did you use your Pima email or not? Um, you need to be using your Pima email. End of story. All right, so you can just kind of toggle through here, explore the page. Here are all the grades shown. And then how to enter grades. You could, when you look, I think you'll go to my grades. No one has any grades, so I'm not exposing anything here. You'll find, well, you won't see anyone else's grades. You'll see broken down, what you got for your first discussion, what you got for your quiz, and then you'll be able to see a final calculated grade here. So stay on top of that. Don't want any assignments. Use the tools available to you. Lastly, again, I do have the calendar set up, or it should be set up. Okay, here. Oop, let's go. Yeah, there we go. So because everything's due on Sundays, you have due dates here, starting on Sundays, and you can see the syllabus receipt is due, the icebreaker is due. Great. Double reminder for that. So you've got lots of ways to remember what you got to do for this class. I think that is all I have to share. There are other student resources built into here, as well as at the bottom of this landing page. There are other ways to access some of our assignments. So you saw that the syllabus quiz was kind of at the end of that first welcome module, but you could also go up top to tools and go to quizzes, and then you can click on your quiz there. So I hope that that was helpful. I look forward to working with you all this semester. And yes, please just email me if you have any questions. Um, so long as you can keep up with your student duties, I'll keep up with my side, and it's going to be a great spring semester. So looking forward to it, and have a good one.